To Straight Facts. I'm joined as ever on Friday by the Don. Husam, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. We beat Lask yesterday, so I'm not here embarrassed. So yeah, I'm good. Happy to be here as per usual. Straight Facts, one of my favorite shows to do as always. Big up everyone in the chat as well. Make sure you guys are liking. Make sure you guys are subscribing to the Football Terrace. You know, this content right here you don't get anywhere else. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel as well, and yeah, we're out here, man. Out here. Premier League is back. Thank God.
We're around. Yes, I know. Champions League was fun to a degree. We didn't win, but I do hear you. And we'll talk a bit about Liverpool later. We've got to chat about Chelsea, looking at their weekend ahead, a big game for them against Aston Villa. We're going to touch on the North London derby, although tonight on the Top 6 show, people, we're going to be going into that in great detail. I'm very much looking forward to that show tonight. But there's no better place for rivals, probably, and maybe the worst place for me to start, and that is with Manchester United. I honestly feel, as per the title of the show, I really do feel like the sacking of Ten Hag is becoming ever closer. I feel as though we will lose this weekend against Burnley, and we'll probably get onto that a bit later. The dressing room turning on the manager, which is exactly as I predicted. To give this some context for you, some of the claims today that have come out are that a number of Man United players are starting to grow weary. It's a strange word, weary of Ten Hag's criticism. The dressing room sources have said that players believe Ten Hag has favourites in the squad who is unprepared to single out for criticism, while they feel others are routinely rounded on. I don't know what that means, rounded on, but that obviously means having a go at them by him. They also went on to say in the same report that some of the Man United players feel they have been put into a invidious position to carry out Ten Hag's tactical instructions, as there is a feeling in the squad that his approach has been compromised by the indefinite absence of Anthony. Maddison Mount could now occupy that role. So these players are furious. These players are angry. These are the dressing room links. What is really interesting, Husam, is only 4 days ago, I quote tweeted these two tweets on the 18th of September, as you can all see on the screen, that were talking about the signing of Amrabat. Internally, there was problems with it. There's a focus on the transfer activity and the fact that his agency's involved has wound people up. And I quote tweeted it 4 days ago and said, the media briefs are preparing for Ten Hag sacking. Leaked concerns regarding player treatment and training methods will start soon if Man United don't win. Bookmark this. 4 days later, those exact same stories that I thought would happen are coming out. Now, I am not claiming to be Nostradamus. I cannot tell the future per se, but I know the cycles at Manchester United. I know when the club starts briefing and allowing leaks, it is to set up the scapegoat, which is consistently the manager. Doesn't mean the manager can't be criticised for mistakes. But again, Man United fans are cuckolding to the Glazers. In my opinion, they're cuckolding the Glazers, and they are getting behind this notion that everything wrong right now is on Ten Hag. And if we sack him, we will naturally improve. All the players deserve another clean slate, another fresh chance to push on ahead. And for me personally, I am absolutely sick to my stomach of player power, poor management from the board, and this ridiculous notion from fans that sacking managers will fix Manchester United Football Club. Sorry to start this all off on a rant, but I had to give it context. What do you make of these further leaks and media pressures being placed upon Ten Hag and Man United?
I mean, I saw your tweets from 4 or 5 days ago, and I was like, you know what, he's right. This is becoming inevitable at this point. I don't even think it's Man United fans who could just guess this now. Even we can guess this as rivals because it's the same stuff that come out. It happened with Moyes, it happened with Van Gaal, it happens with all of these guys. It's just kind of the same cycles. Oli, Ranić, Mourinho, the same stuff. You know, we saw with you know, the whole Pogba situation with Mourinho, how kind of it was like a whole media warfare thing going on. So I kind of think it was inevitable that this happens. I'm gonna be honest with you. First of all, the whole favoritism thing, every manager has favoritism. This is the ultimate statement that no one wants to acknowledge. I bet you right now that Klopp don't give Salah, Allison, and Van Dijk and Trent the same treatment he gives the rest of them, and that's normal. That's just how life works. Terry, for example, has about 50,000 people who come on the terrace, all the time. It's impossible to treat every single person the exact same. If some people, for example, from a football player's perspective, with Marcus Rashford, because he was the guy mentioned, out of the 6 goals scored this season, he's involved in 4 of them. So when you look at it from that perspective, before the Bayern game, sorry, I'm just talking Prem only. So out of the 6 goals scored in the Prem, he was involved in 4 of them. So I wouldn't expect Rashford to get equal treatment to the rest anyway, because he's clearly, as Terry stated, which I agree with, the only source of goals. Like it's just the unfortunate reality. Man United are fortunate for us, unfortunate for them. That is, they rely on Marcus Rashford for goals. I think sacking Ten Hag would be a mistake, but I think it's inevitable at this point. I think the best thing to do would be getting a sporting director to work with Ten Hag, because you could fine-tune transfers and make that that thing better. But the one thing I will say, and this is where I've actually been, maybe even Terry's surprised how objective I've been with this whole Ten Hag thing. But I have my biggest problem with Ten Hag is a philosophical problem. My biggest issue with Ten Hag is he hasn't stuck to a philosophy. Now, I've got no problem with Ten Hag if he wants to park the bus at the Allianz or at Anfield or at the Etihad. You don't play the same exact thing everywhere you go, unless you're a Man City or you're a Liverpool when we were really strong, or you're a Barcelona 2009 type thing. So unless you're an unbelievable team, that's when you play the same everywhere. But the reality is, for me, with Ten Hag, he's chopping and changing too much, and that's a constructive of his. I think even with the diamond against Brighton, we haven't seen that, and he decides to do that for the first time. He decides to do that against Brighton. My problem is football philosophy with Eric Ten Hag. You need to choose a way you want to play the sport. You need to choose a way you want to put out these 11 players on the pitch and play set way. And I reiterate, I'm not telling you play it at Anfield, play it at the Etihad, but 95% of the time you're playing clubs at United that you're expected to beat. I'm talking about Brentford at home, Palace at home. Those games are the games where you have to play the same exact style, and that's the thing. I think he's chopping and changing too much.
So to interject, I agree. That element, I think, is fair criticism. But Man United fans have got into this cycle of, once you start criticizing a manager, you might as well want him sacked, as opposed to giving him time to change. What we haven't seen yet this season, we've seen Rasmus Højlund on the pitch for, I think, a total of 2 games he started now. We've seen like 150 odd minutes from him, scored a goal, very unlucky not to score in his first start in the Premier League. We've not seen Amrabat kick a ball, and Mason Mount in the first game was awful. Second game, not so great either. But we have not seen all 3 of the new outfield players together, and we have not seen yet the majority of the signings from this year and last year all play together. And I still think there's elements here that, again, rivals.
And you do have an easy run coming up, by the way.
We do have an easy run coming up. And then I look at things like, I know rivals will say copium, but this is the problem with a lot of Man United fans. They have zero backbone. That's why I call them cuckolds. They would rather cuckold to the Glazers and turn on the manager, or they'd rather cuckold to rival fans and go, do you know what? I'm going to show a little backbone. I'm going to show some thick skin. I'm going to show some strength here and criticize things that are wrong, but still back it to get better. Some people this time last year, this time 6 months ago, were talking about Ten Hag like the next coming of Pep. They were. Go back and look at their tweets. Now they're saying he catfished us, he frauded us, he lied to us, he cheated us. No, he's going through a rough time. What isn't making it easier is you as quote unquote supporters becoming cuckolds to rivals and making mountains out of molehills. I want to go to some of these leaks that have come out. First of all, Daps here says City players get Bernardo Silva to ask Pep Guardiola for days off because he's Pep's favorite. Again, do you know what's funny? When a manager has favorites in a team that's winning, nobody cares. Nobody even cares too much when your team's losing. We only care when his favorites are players we don't like, and our favorite players are maybe not so much in favor. It becomes like a bunch of kids at school. But do you know what really made me laugh about this? This was the report here. Some players feel they have been put into an invidious position to carry out Ten Hag's instructions. I never heard of that word before. I've never heard that word used. Now, I'm not that smart, so I thought, right, I'll Google it. It means likely to arouse or incur resentment or anger in others. So you start reading it, and then you. So I'm sitting there thinking, hang on. So the players are angry that they're being asked to do what the manager's telling them. Well, we're not. Listen, Antony as an attacking threat has been poor. However, that isn't the only role that he plays in the team. He's very important to our shape. He's very important to covering in midfield and defensive positions to stop there being holes. Like, deep this for a minute, the cold Man United fans out there. You are siding with players that are saying, I don't want to have to work as hard as Antony does. Oh, Antony does it fine. He loves doing it, but I don't want to. And now you're asking me to, I'm going to get angry. Think about that in any other walk of life. Let's say you're a bartender and the bar manager says, I need you to go and serve customers. It's busy. Yeah, but Johnny normally works when it's on Fridays when it's busy. Yes, but he's sick today. So you're covering him. But I don't want to work hard, so I'm not going to bother. If you did that in any other walk of life, you'd be sacked. The members of the public, the people, the customers would say, you're a disgrace. Get out of here. Employ someone who works harder. Man United fans, these cuckolds are siding with the players. And I've actually heard people say, yeah, but why would you want to have to do what Antony does? Antony's rubbish. Antony has been rubbish going forward. That doesn't mean a player that comes in can say, well, I'm not going to work as hard as Antony just because he didn't deliver in the attacking element. This is child logic. This is child logic. Do you know what I'm saying? It makes absolutely no sense. I've actually worked with people like this. You'll say, look, I need to have a chat with you. You're late for work today. Yeah, but Jason was late last week. Yes. And I spoke to him. But you're late today, so we're going to have a conversation. Babies. And I genuinely believe anyone backing this, they're backing it because they're a failure in their own life. And they have been called out in the past for having a lack of work ethic, a lack of passion, a lack of desire, and they hate being told what to do. These are probably, you've all worked with them, or they're in your classes at school, or they're in your workplace, or they're in a group at university where they're there. They want to put no effort in, and their failures always get blamed on other people. And they're the kind of cuckolds that are supporting this. Now, I'm not saying there can't be criticisms of this manager, but the players are weary of his criticism. Yeah, you're not delivering. The players don't want to run and work hard. What is it? How are we as a fan base for a single second backing this? And it isn't about Ten Hag. It's not about him. Think of the message we are sending again, just like under Jose, just like under Oli. And I literally see Man United fans go, yeah, but Ten Hag's crap, so I wouldn't want to listen to him either. Think of the message you're sending. It's okay to down tools as long as the fans don't like the manager, or as long as a group of people don't like the manager. What happens next time, Brains of Britain, when it's a manager you rate and another group of fans don't like him and they encourage a different set of players to down tools that are not getting their own way? Everyone goes on about the same fans doing this are the same moronic cuckolds online that only ever talk about standards. But yet they're willing for the standards to be eroded when it suits their agenda. These people do not love Manchester United and they do not want the best for the football club. And again, anyone who says, stop defending Ten Hag, it's not about Ten Hag per se. It's about the position of which he holds. And if we continually erode its power and pull the rug from under a manager's feet, we will never, ever get better. Been saying this for the last 3 to 4 managerial sackings. Everybody every time says, no, you're wrong, Terry. And we always end up back here. It's an absolute disgrace. Backing the players in this circumstance is horrendous. The manager is allowed to make mistakes. The manager is allowed to criticize players. And for God's sake, imagine being put into an invidious position because the manager says, work hard. Imagine that. Imagine it. But this is where we are in 2023. People literally are victims because they have a job that's well paid and they're told to work hard. Oh, I'm a victim. The world's gone mad. The world has gone crazy. It has been flipped upon its head. And they talk about standards. These people have no standards. These people have no standards at all. They think the world owes them a goddamn living. They think life's easy. And they moan about not being successful because they don't have the work ethic to get up every day and break their back for what they want to be. And I'm just gutted that this section of people are so influential and loud around my football club. These goddamn Glazer cuckolds. Do one. Get the hell out of here. You are as bad for the club as the Glazers. Sitting there watching, stroking their hair as they fuck your football club. Mugs. All of them. All of them. Mugs.
So guys, here's the thing with what everything Terry just said. First of all, I completely agree. I've got no problem with that. I personally, I don't think Ten Hag is the messiah, as some people make out, but I've already said my problem with them, and even Terry agreed it's constructive. Now, I'll say this about the Man United fans: the biggest enemy is not us rivals. It really is Man United fans themselves. You need to fight your own fan base before any rival, because the Man United fan base itself is the biggest problem. And I feel like you need to social engineer kind of the fan base and kind of understand the position that you're in. Because as I said, for example, earlier on, I said you need to get a sporting director to work with Ten Hag. That got nothing to do with Ten Hag. That's the Glazers' job. That's the owner's job. So there's many things you could criticize the Glazers for. There's many things you can criticize Ten Hag for, but you need to be balanced. I think the people that went Ten Hag out, it's way too soon. But Terry did predict it on Twitter, and he's 100% right. This media briefings, by the way, this ain't going to be the first time or the second time. It's going to be a third and a fourth and a fifth. Next week, it's going to be some other guy who leaks some shit to the media. It's just a non-stop cycle. I'll give you guys an example, since you guys watch Straight Facts every week. Imagine I come to Terry and I say, Terry, I'm only doing Straight Facts for 20 minutes this week. And then I come on Straight Facts half an hour late. Would you not expect Terry to have a reaction? Because he's like, wait a minute, Big Steve and Lee Gunner and all these guys, they come at the same time that I tell them, and they do an hour and a half show, a 2-hour show, whatever, and you only want to do 20 minutes. What makes you think you're special type thing? So I always think manager needs to be able to implement standards in the squad. Now, with the favoritism thing, by the way, make no mistake, Pep has favorites. Klopp has favorites. Ferguson had favorites. Wenger had favorites. This is absolutely normal. Players that deliver for you on the football pitch will be your favorites. And by the way, they're 99% of your favorites as a fan base. Forget, like, I'm talking in generals here. Most Man United fans, they love Rashford. Most Man United fans, they love Lisandro. They love all these players that have delivered for them consistently, and they're not willing to back someone on the bench. Because the Jadon Sancho situation, there is a Dutch midfielder that used to be signed to Manchester United. He goes by the name of Donny van de Beek. I've heard so many people for the last 2 years tell me that this is Donny van de Beek's time to shine. This is Donny van de Beek who's going to start. He's going to cook under Ten Hag. And as soon as Ten Hag walked in, he's like, Donny, I don't want to see you here anymore. And this is where the manager needs to be able to have power to apply these standards. Because you look at Arteta, we can use them as a measuring stick in terms of manager power. Arteta came in and he got rid of all the old guard. Aubameyang's no longer there. Lacazette is no longer there. All the players from the old guard are no longer there. And he just got his whole basically players in there. Ten Hag needs to be blamed for certain things. I've already stated them, the philosophical side and stuff like that. But if he's holding standards at training, there should be nothing wrong with that. And all managers have favorites anyway. So that's just a non-story for me.
I hear you, bro. There's a few comments here. This one says, I don't think Terry knows what a cuckold is, because Terry would be the husband, United is the wife, and the fans he is talking about are the guys digging out United. No, I think you misunderstood, as I've said. You know, Man United is the wife. These fans are sitting there and watching the Glazers ruin us, but they're focusing on other outside influences. And the manager is important, and the manager definitely made mistakes, and the manager needs to be criticized. And I think Sam's right in the things that he said. There are definite areas, but we need to persevere through this. It's the one action we haven't taken since we did a bit with Ollie, but we all knew Ollie wasn't good enough. And go back and watch what I said about him. I was like, yeah, like, I'm happy for him to be here for now, but I think we need someone better. But we never fixed anything under Ollie, because then we knocked it all down again to start under a new project. Maradon says, why don't you call them by name, Terry? The problem is with calling them by name is I don't know who half these people are. Some of these guys have got massive accounts, but they don't even use their real names or faces, but they're hugely influential. I don't know what their names are. I have no idea what the names are. One guy today I was chatting to, I think his name was Trey, Love United, Hate Glazers. Who the hell is that? He's got a picture of AWB. How do I call him out by his name? They're nameless, faceless, but they represent Man United online and created a hell of a lot of attention. I back Ten Hag 100%. I'm not listening to the sacking nonsense. The club is rotten from the top down. Stick with Ten Hag. F the players you don't try. And again, this is it. You should be advocating for any player that doesn't want to work hard in training. Any player that, imagine being taught, yeah, you're coming in to replace Anthony. And that player knows that that's a position in the team system that has to bust their ass off, whether they're delivering in front of goal or not. And they're like, oh, I don't want to. Just deep that for a minute. And you guys sometimes wonder, this is the deep end of it. Sometimes people go, why isn't Joe Bloggs getting more opportunity? Maybe he's telling the manager, no, I don't want that role. I don't want to work that hard. And we then blame the manager for not playing him. I honestly don't believe that managers say no to players out of spite. I believe they only ever say no to players due to attitude and training application. Generally, other than that,
And you want to hear proof of that? What did McTominay do at the Allianz? Didn't even feel like running back. Scott McTominay. Isn't Scott McTominay's like strength basically his work rate? Isn't one of his main strengths the fact that he works
that video
hard?
back? I watched it. Disgrace. And again, he's a player the manager wanted out, and it's a deal that the club couldn't get done. And these things just shouldn't be ignored. Terry, as predicted, these headlines we knew were coming. Absolutely, we did.
By the way, CeeLo, it's not just look. Terry called this because he's used to this as a United fan, and he called it spot on with exact details. But us as rivals, me from the outside looking in, I can already tell Ten Hag's going to get sacked, by the way. I can already feel it. Unless he like fully just 180 degrees this whole situation and starts fucking winning games at a crazy rate. It's kind of giving like he's about to get sacked vibes. I'm going to be so honest with you.
It certainly is. And as I've already said, I'll reiterate it again. The players are leaking information that they don't like. And by the way, the manager hasn't criticized any individual's performance in a game. Yes, he called out the training standards of Sancho, but I can't think of an interview where he's gone, I don't know, Mount today was awful on the ball. Rashford today was selfish on the ball. Sancho today was too lazy when tracking back. I've not heard him do that. So they're calling out his criticism, which means it's private criticism. And they're calling out the fact he's asking them to work hard. So anyone who's siding with the manager, just think about what this makes you look like as a person. You are backing not just paid employees, well-paid employees, multi-millionaires who are saying, we don't want to work hard. And if we don't work hard and we don't deliver, we should not face criticism. That is what you are advocating. That tells me a lot about you as a person. That tells me you're an absolute disgrace of a human being. You really are a disgrace of a human being. I genuinely mean that. It's an awful lesson. It's an awful message. It just I genuinely believe anyone who's siding with these players on this particular subject doesn't mean you've got to side with the manager on everything. On this particular subject, I think these people have got very, very dark, very bitter, very angry hearts. I bet if you get to know these people in person, I bet they're not very nice people. And there might be a reason for that. You know, there could be a multitude of reasons, but you can't be a good person and think that a football player paid millions of pounds a year has the right to moan about his manager privately criticizing him and asking him to work hard. Sorry, can't buy into it at all. Davis responded to Ten Hag saying he's not a good defender. He defended well. So we can get at him. He's not a good coach either, so I don't know why he's talking. Cool, yeah. Man United's manager shouldn't do a press conference anymore. I agree with you on that one.
Ten Hag does talk too much, though.
Mate, he shouldn't have said that. Again, when that quote came out, I think I was live with Big Steve, and I just said, why say it? Like, you know me, I love the football gods. I think they're real. Do you know what I mean? I think fate, and I suppose every culture has a different word for it. Sometimes you tempt fate by saying things, and that's why I don't like really doing previews, but especially with my own club. I don't like to put things out into the universe in case I upset the balance. So I can't it's like when you went 1-0 down yesterday. I was so annoyed at Staffy for bantering you at 1-0 down. It's like, no, you'll ruin it. Keep quiet. Because I don't know. I really believe, when it comes to sport, I'm so superstitious. It's crazy. Discipline is the hardest part of progression towards a goal in life. Seemed like some of these United players are scared of discipline. You're absolutely right. Discipline and consistency are the two most important ingredients you need. You can be less talented, but with consistency and hard work, still make a very successful go of your life. The pet peeve of people I dislike the most on a professional level are highly talented people that are work shy, because they could be so much and they don't put the effort in, and it drives me.
Yeah.
I know a YouTuber like that. He don't do YouTube anymore. He was so talented, so knowledgeable, so good at what he did. But he's a lazy bastard. Lazy bastard. It used to wind me up. How good he could have been, and he wanted it. But then what he wanted more was to lay in bed. But there we go. That's kind of it. It's like late people. You don't like people that say, I want to be successful and rich, but they're late a lot, don't turn up a lot. They would rather sleep than be rich and successful. That's what it comes down to. that happens when players don't respect you. That's a fair point as well. They don't respect him. So we need to understand why they don't respect him. And all I'm seeing so far is I haven't seen a tangible reason. Oh, he treats certain players better than us. Well, he treats the players that deliver better than you. Fair enough. He treats the players that follow instructions better than you. That makes sense. He treats the players that turn up to training on time better than you. That makes sense. Listen, kids, this notion of, equal rights is true. Everybody should get equal opportunities. But this idea that everybody in the world is going to be treated exactly the same way is a preposterous one. Because depending on your behavior, your application, your hard work, your delivery, and I'm talking here on a professional level, like I treat all three of my children the same until one of them's naughty and the other two are not. If Freya's naughty and Jackson and Archie are behaving themselves, I'm not going to punish them. I'm going to treat them for a period of time better than I'm treating her. Even though I'm putting her on the naughty step and not letting her have a piece of chocolate, it's actually a good thing for her in the long run if she listens to it. I'm not treating them the same in that moment. Employees, if one of my employees is killing it and doing a great job and the other one isn't, I'm not going to treat them the same in every aspect. Of course, they can still both have a lunch break, go home on time, eat food at work. I'll treat them fair there. But I'm not going to treat the person who's delivering the same as the person who's not. There is going to be a difference. I don't know what it is with this modern generation thinking that everybody is going to be treated identically the same at every single moment, in every walk of life, no matter how good or bad your performance is. Doesn't make sense.
That's not
anyone who thinks that is the case is not going to listen. I mean this. You're going to have a hard damn life is hard enough as it is. Life is hard enough as it is. Without you setting these unrealistic expectations, nobody's ever going to match. No, you're never going to work anywhere. You're never going to be in a relationship, whether it's with a father, a mother, a boyfriend, girlfriend, whether it's with your brothers, siblings, bosses. If you think that at every moment someone's going to treat you exactly how you want to be treated and as equally as everybody else, you're mad. You're mad. Young men, you'll be in a situation where you might be with your girlfriend, some of your boy mates, some of their girlfriends, and all the boys all saying certain things, and she'll laugh what something silly your friend does, but she'll tell you off for doing it. And that's because she has different standards for you to what she has to your friends. She wants you to look and be a certain way, and maybe vice versa. No one gets treated the same. No one treats everybody the same. Get this stupid idea out of your head. It's never going to happen. Drop this favoritism nonsense. The great managers have favorites. The crap managers have favorites. Therefore, having favorites isn't per se a problem. The only people that make it a problem are failures who feel like, oh, I didn't get an opportunity at work because the manager had a favorite. I guarantee that favorite turned up on time, worked harder than you, and delivered more than you. Cast iron facts. Failures. Anyway, it just annoys me. I just listen. Oh, anyway, I'm moving on.
Terrace had enough of his own fan base. You could tell. You could tell that you just had enough of his own fan base. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think Terry is probably even affected by anything I would say about Man United because he's heard probably dumber shit from his own fans.
So I can push back against rivals, and I expect it from rivals. But Man United fans, I'm not saying we shouldn't criticize our club, but we never, for 10 long years, we never focus on the root cause problem until a new manager comes in. Then we go at the Glazers as a collective. We've got to help him. We've got to support him until he hits a rocky road. And then we just defer straight back to the manager. And again, I reiterate for all the silly people in the back, the manager deserves criticism. Some of his signings have flopped. Give him time to put it right. He has not played a game yet with all these signings on the pitch. Let's have a handful of games with all these signings on the pitch and the players that he's given new deals and promoted to captains. And let's see how they look. And if they're still looking bad, we'll have another conversation. But come on now. Use your brains.
Do you really think you're going to lose to Burnley this weekend?
Yes, we are going to lose to Burnley.
Even I predicted a Man United win. I was doing a prediction show yesterday, and even I predicted a Man United win. I'll tell you why. Thing is, I understand this. Okay, let me tell you what's mad. Big up Staffy. Staffy predicted Man United win. There was another United fan on the panel, and he was like, I predict a Burnley win. And he probably predicted for the same reason you did, which is players downing tools. I'll say purely from a football logic, just from a purely football logic. From a football logic, Company is not Sean Dyche. Company is not, I'm about to park the bus and rough you up type manager. Company will want to hold possession and play football and pass it around and blah, 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 blah. Now, if Company does that, whether we like it or not, that's actually advantage Man United. Because Man United will tear them the fuck apart on the counter-attack. Just 2-3 counter-attacks, and you could be 2-3 up easily. This is the thing I'm saying from a football logic. If this was Sean Dyche's Burnley, I'd be like, you know what, Terry, fair enough, that's valid. But Burnley are open now. They're playing expensive football. Expensive football suits Man United. And even when you look at the Burnley-Sheffield game, not Sheffield, sorry, Forest game that they played last week, Forest were going to win at the end because Burnley wanted to play beautiful, sexy football. And they barely got a draw in that game. So, like, as much as I want to shit on Man United, and everyone here knows how much I hate that football club, at the end of the day, logically speaking, from a football, just purely football perspective, there is no way Man United lose to Burnley. I just don't see it happening. Why do you see Burnley winning then?
This is obviously we haven't won for a month. 2 weeks of that was international break as well, so that puts it into a little bit of context. But Burnley haven't won a game. It would, as soon as I said that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Football stories, the drama of football. It would be poetic. It would be, remember this, the first ever Premier League game Burnley won a decade ago or so was against Manchester United, more than a decade ago, about 13 years ago. Michael Owen started for us that game. I've just got a horrible feeling in my stomach. But by the way, losing away to Arsenal and losing away to Munich,
Spurs.
I can take those defeats. I mean, the Bayern Munich game was weird. I actually back what Bruno said in his interview. Obviously, people clip it down to 12 seconds, so it looks bad. But he was having a dig at people that said we wouldn't even score there, we'd have no chance there, and we only ended up finishing a goal behind. The Arsenal
no, but
game,
now you're just defending Bruno. Bruno cannot say that post game. He cannot say that
again.
He cannot respond like he's on a football space. He's Man United captain.
No, but he can. And do you know what's interesting? Do you know why I say he can? Because this is the irony of it. When players just give pure politically correct PR answers, we moan they're not telling us the truth. When he digs people out, we get angry. But you've got to understand the sarcasm there, because people still go back to that when he spoke about when he got the penalty against Spurs when we lost 6-1. And they always put the quote where he says, well, if it weren't for my penalty, it would have been 6-0, not 6-1. If you watch the interview, you can see the sarcasm in what he's saying and how he's digging people out for other things. But people like to take things out of context and twist them. By the way, other interviews he did that night spoke about how winning is never. Go watch the other interviews he did. If you watch them all in totality, I don't think you disagree with that one comment when you listen to the question, but there's a reason they clip out the question and they clip out what comes after, because it contextualizes it. We all know how it works, and we all do it to each other's clubs. But aside from that, what were we saying before that about Burnley? Yeah, I just think it's written in the stars. I really do think, and we've lost 3 really good teams on the bounce. Very disappointing. I've just got a horrible feeling that with all the turmoil, we've got the Daily Mail following around Onana. They watched him drop his keys and they're on him. Like, there's so much pressure. And if these reports today are true, that the players are turning on the manager, we got beat by relegation fodder Watford when the players started turning on Ollie. So that's why I don't have it. I hope what the manager said in his press conference today is true, that the players truly are united. I'm hoping these leaks have come from players who have been sold or on the peripheries or out of the squad right now. I'm hoping it isn't coming from people that are in that squad and the manager is confident. And I'm hoping that Varane and Amrabat come back in. Mount looks like he's going to play on the right-hand side, which I think right now is probably the best place for him in this team. And I'm hoping for an improvement and some good football and some goals. And if we do it, I'll celebrate and I'll say, great. But my gut feeling right now is another Manchester United loss. I hate feeling this way.
Fit, by the way?
He's training today. So I'm hoping he's fit. Yeah. We need him. We need him so badly.
So he'll probably come off the bench, you'd say. He wouldn't start.
Yeah, maybe off the bench. Yeah, maybe off the bench. And then we've got Crystal Palace in the League Cup midweek, I think, at home. So that would be another good game for him. There's some super chats here. This one says United are a hot mess, but that doesn't mean talented ballers should suffer because of that. Sancho, if you're watching, your loan move to Barca is waiting. Listen, I agree.
About to trigger the fuck out of Terry. I'm just telling you. Right.
No, not really. Listen, I listen. It hasn't worked with Sancho at Manchester
Baller
United.
FC right here. Baller FC. Right.
No, I get that, but I look at it this way. I'm not. All these leaks that are coming out, I have no idea who's doing it. So therefore, I'm not going to target any one individual. Some people think it's Sancho. Some people don't. So I'm not going to cast aspersions. We have no idea who's leaking this information. I want him to move on. I think that Sancho has suffered a ridiculous amount of abuse. When I see people saying that Maguire gets more than him, I disagree, because I think a lot of what Sancho has faced it comes from a different area. So I'm not going to abuse the guy. I just want the club to get to a swift decision about what's going to happen, move him on for him and for us, and we see what happens. I would rather it be abroad as well, by the way. My view is the manager is the
ringable neck
for the club. Everything ties back to the manager. So back to the manager until he or she gets it right. They are hired to deliver a vision, give them the tools. I understand you. And I think that's, and again, I said this last week, Studio Hooks. Let's just sit in your world for a minute. And all the people, because I've had people challenge me and say, I just don't think there's anything wrong with how we're run. We just keep hiring the wrong managers. That's fair. That's a fair comment, which means I understand why you target the manager. However, we haven't changed who's really picking these managers and who signs off on them. It's still the Glazers, their family, and the board. So again, stacking the manager, in my opinion, won't fix us, because if they've got 6 on the bounce wrong, what faith do you have on number 7 being right? When I don't even think there's a plethora of talented managers available compared to what we've had in the past. So I hear you, but this is all about, if we sack the manager, surely the only outcome is how do we fix the club long term? And I don't think doing that does. Angry Terry on one. I can't wait for his diss track. This is the weirdest comment of the day. It says Ten Hag is not getting sacked, so stop blaming the manager, Football Terrace. It's not the manager. It's those above him that are the problem. So direct your anger towards them, those responsible.
That's literally what he's been saying since the start of the video. Hello! Are you awake, brother? Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Are you listening? That's your chat is exactly what Terry's saying. He's been saying the problem is the Glazers. Yo, LDV, are you actually listening to what we're saying, or do you just want to say, like, did you just type this for the sake of it? That's so
you know what's crazy? I went and had my hair cut today, but I also, when I was in there, Turkish barbers, I had my ears and my nose waxed. Never done it before. That hurt. Not as much as that comment hurt. Like legitimately. I think my ears are still really, like, they've gone down. My ears were bright red. My nose looked all swollen, but it was good. I can breathe really good now. I can hear better than I've been able to hear for weeks as well. So it's very, very good. But yeah, this comment's the funniest comment of the day. Thank you.
He's so Jason says, he's like, yeah, Terry, by the way, you're wrong. And I'm saying everything you just said.
Without harmony and standards, you can buy talented players, but still won't be a team. It's not just Ten Hag to instill this. Look at Arteta and what he did at Arsenal. Again, if the board weren't behind him and allowing him to operate and they were letting players rule, Arteta would never have been successful. Simple and as straightforward as that. And he's getting towards being successful. Remember when Roy Keane said, a leopard never changes its spots? The players threw Jose, Oli, Ragnick, and now Ten Hag under the bus. And what's really interesting in the dugout is this. Some people are saying Bruno, and it's funny, like people have done like Rashi and Bruno. They're like, well, they've been part of lots of foul teams, so they must be the problem. But equally, they are 2 of the mainstays that the new managers consistently play when they come in, which tells you, which again, forget how I feel about them. Logic dictates that they're not the problem because they keep getting used. Unless you all believe this is the irony. Unless they're being instructed by the club that they have to play them, which therefore means I'm right to not blame managers and it's the owners. This is the thing. They just can't drop their agendas and think logically for a moment and think objectively about the problems. It makes me laugh so much. It's so poor. It really is poor from them. Moving on, because I'm bored of talking about Man United. How do you think Chelsea are going to get on this week at home to Aston Villa on Sunday?
You know what it is? I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me this week. This is the first week I've not predicted any upsets. I'm actually going for a Chelsea win. And I went for a Man United win as well. I'm just not doing upset anymore. And you know what it is with Chelsea Aston Villa? Everyone here knows how much I fucking can't stand Chelsea Football Club. People think it's Lavia and Caicedo. First of all, Terry, you're welcome. Everything I said about Chelsea is coming to fruition in front of our very own eyes. They're already patched out. They are impatient and they're not waiting. So everything I told you is happening with Chelsea fans. I know about 50 Chelsea fans who are all patched out. So yeah, that's all. And the others who aren't are like, I'm patched out. And the other half are like, oh, I'm going to give him time. So here's the thing with Chelsea. Chelsea absolutely suck. Make no mistake. Chelsea stink. Chelsea are shit. Chelsea can't play football. But there comes a point in time where you just like, yo, like you need to just like I'm using the same logic for Chelsea and Man United. I'm like, yo, you just have to start winning at this point. Like this is too much. And I saw Aston Villa, they lost 3-2, I believe it was, to Legia Warsaw, and they just played midweek. My logic is Aston Villa's playing on a Thursday, going Sunday to Stamford Bridge. Now, sorry. Now, this Sunday, would I be shocked, or you, Terry, or anyone in the chat, if Aston Villa get a draw or a win? No. But at the same time, there comes a point in time where you just need to start winning games. And at the end of the day, Chelsea have been resting for the last week. Chelsea have been resting for a whole week. Aston Villa just played Legia Warsaw last night. And 2 days later, they're going to go to Stamford Bridge. Now, Aston Villa, Emery, of course, is an experienced manager in Europe. There's a couple of players there who are experienced. But overall, they don't have a squad that has European experience like that, which means that will play into Chelsea's favor. Now, I'm going to say this. I know Aston Villa ain't an easy opponent, but if Chelsea do not beat Aston Villa at home, I'm going to be honest with you, not just alarm bells are ringing. The fire extinguishers are out. It's going to be a long day for everyone involved with Chelsea Football Club. And I think the sacking is on the wall for Pochettino if he doesn't beat Aston Villa this Sunday. But I think it just comes a point in time where Chelsea, you just have to go like win a game in it, and this is going to be the game.
That they need to win because the run of games coming up is so hard, and they need some confidence. And Villa are such a interesting team. I saw a lot of like I saw fans of Premier League clubs kind of going in this week. Oh, look how many of the English teams lost in Europe. Shows but not that strong as everyone makes out. That United got beat by Bayern Munich, but City and Arsenal smashed it. Liverpool smashed it. West Ham, very good. Villa lost and Brighton lost. Who else lost? Man United. Newcastle did, but Newcastle lost away from home against AC Milan at the San Siro. I didn't think it was a bad result. Sorry, did they lose or draw?
They drew. They didn't
even lose. They drew. Sorry, my head's gone. And I was like, but if you actually look, Brighton rotated. Villa rotated. Now, I don't necessarily think they should have done that, but it's early stages. They rotated for a tough away game in Europe. Brighton probably should have played a stronger team, but maybe that isn't their priority. Maybe their priority is somewhere else this year. Who knows, right? Villa are a really good team, though, if they get going. And if they don't finish their dinner, Chelsea, against them, they're going to have some fresh legs out there this Sunday. Villa can cause them problems, especially on the counter if they overcommit and they leave space at the back. Diaby started the season fairly well, in my opinion. Chelsea have to win. In fact, I actually think that a result is important. They need a win and a performance, very similar to that of Man United. They need to get some blood back in their legs. They need to get some confidence back. They need to get a feeling. They need to almost get a feeling back in the dressing room that we can win. I said it after their last game. In the last 37 Premier League games, so since Tuchel was sacked, they played 37 games. They have 39 points. That is genuinely almost a complete season at relegation level. And 5 games of that, 6 going into the 6th game, is in this campaign. And if they don't beat Villa and Villa beat them, and then they don't win the game after, suddenly you get to a point where you are not getting out of that rut this year. You might improve slightly, but if the confidence isn't there and you're fully young players, yes, you can buy again in January, and maybe that helps. But this squad's starting to feel the pain of last year, and it seeped over into this campaign. Sometimes that happens to teams. You see, Spurs have dropped it. They're fine. But I think the pressure of the need to improve because of the £1 billion investment is getting to these players. The fact is they don't know what it's like to win. And this isn't even a dig. I'm not even trying to be funny. They've had more here we goes from Fabrizio in 2023 than points won. And I don't want to see any of my rivals successful. But I'm talking objectively here. They must win and put in a performance. Poch has got to get the best out. I know he's got injuries, but he's got to get the best out of this group because they don't start winning soon. They go into a run of games soon where they're playing Spurs, they're playing City. They're away from United. They play Brighton. The run are actually going to get their run of games up. And it's so important they win. And it's weird because there are certain games in the league where you look at it and say, oh, that's winnable. Even as bad as we've been this year. We beat Forest. Do you know what I'm saying? We managed to beat Wolves. We got past those teams. Chelsea haven't really been able to do that other than when they played Luton. But yeah, looking at their games, bruv, when you read out these fixtures in the Premier League, right? So they've got Aston Villa, then away to Fulham, then away to Burnley, home to Arsenal, home to Brentford, away to Tottenham, home to City, away to Newcastle, home to Brighton, away to Man United. That takes them up to the 6th of December. They don't listen. The next 3 games they should be winning. Like Chelsea should be winning those 3. They suddenly come out of that with only 3 points, and then go into Arsenal, Brentford, Tottenham, City, Newcastle, Brighton, United. I don't think they'll lose all of them, but they could lose a lot of them. Then suddenly you get to like 10, 12 games into the season. You're sitting there on 10, 11 points. You're in trouble. You're in trouble. You're in trouble. And listen, by the way, my club has got its own problems, but that doesn't defer from the situation Chelsea are in. And they've got too good a squad to be there. And the problem that you have, and they got away with it last year because there just wasn't enough games left. I felt if there was 5 to 10 more games last season, they went down. The problem is they signed a lot of youngsters, and even their older players, none of them know what it's like to be down. Very few of them, in my opinion, know what it's like to be at a club that size in and around the bottom. It's a different mentality that you need. And if
but why, when I said that, I was jealous of the Lavia Caicedo thing? Because I just said what you just
are
said.
jealous of that deal. You are still jealous.
No, I said they need to sign experienced players. I remember when we first spoke about Chelsea. As soon as the referee blows his whistle for the last minute, I said Chelsea need to worry more about selling than they need to do buying. Did I not tell you that? And I said if they want to buy, they need to buy 3-4 players. That's it. But once again, they overdid it this summer. I don't think they have learned fuck all from what happened in January and the summer before. They're trying, you know what it is with Todd Bowley? He really thinks this is like the NBA or the NFL. And I'm not saying that because he's American, but he probably thinks that because that's what he's used to. Because in those sports, you get the best players and you just suddenly win. Like, it's just how it goes. Like, the Miami Heat were nobodies. They get LeBron James, they win the title. That's not how life works. Football is different. You don't just get a bunch of youngsters with incredible potential and tell me you're going to win now. Because where's the experience in all this? And I kept saying all summer long, and people kept calling me, oh, you're jealous. I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous. Fuck Chelsea. And by the way, you know who's jealous? Let me tell you who's truly jealous right now. And if you're honest, Terry, you'd admit it. Caicedo's jealous. Lavia is jealous because they're both thinking, if I made that fucking move to Liverpool, I'd be so much happier right now. Because they're looking at Liverpool, they're like 3-1 Liverpool, 3-0 Liverpool, 3-1 Liverpool, 2-1 against Newcastle. They're seeing such a fantastic start to the season. We're in Europe, of course, not the Champions League, but we are in Europe. They're probably thinking, why the fuck have I just went to Chelsea? So that's who's truly jealous. But from a Chelsea perspective, I didn't tell them to buy all these young players. This is the one thing that I refuse to baby Chelsea for. I did not ask Chelsea, go buy 15 youngsters. Didn't they spend that much money? Why didn't you buy 3-4 experienced players? Why didn't you buy 3-4 players who are used to that? Why didn't you buy 3-4 players who are used to wearing a shirt this size? And if you keep telling me they're looking at the long term, you know, there are two words that Chelsea fans learned this last 12 months. Amortization and long term. They learned those 2 words last 12 months. They have never used them before. With the long term thing, all the Chelsea fans, ask yourself right now, are you willing to be patient? If you want to say long term, me and Terry will both agree with you. No problem. Long term, it's going to work. Are you willing to give it the long term to begin with? Are you willing to sit there? And I'm being completely realistic. Fuck the bias. Chelsea will probably start winning things if they wait 3 years from now. I think even Terry would say that's fair. I'm not even going over the top. I'm not saying 4 or 5. I'm saying 3. 3 years from now is when you start winning. Are Chelsea fans willing to sit there for 3 years and not win a single thing? The answer is no. And because the answer is no, and the answer is they are impatient, and they're the most impatient fan base in the whole league, then this is only going to go downhill. And Pochettino is going to end up being sacked. And here we go again.
Mate, it's certainly going to be interesting indeed to see how that kind of transpires. I still think Chelsea can click into gear. They just need some wins. The problem you have in life is one of the examples in football I always look back on was Stuart Downing to Liverpool. I know you laugh. Go back and watch his first game. He was sensational. And he nearly scored one of the best debut goals I've ever seen. He dribbled past 2 or 3 players, took this wicked shot from about 30 yards down, hit the crossbar. And he maintained that for 2 or 3 games. He just couldn't score or get the assist. And then you saw the pressure really build up and he crumbled. Joe Cole to Liverpool was very much the same. Came in with a lot of hype. And it was like he tried and maybe he over-tried slightly. Then he started to over-try. And there is such thing as over-trying and overcompensating. And it went wrong for him. And those two kind of stand out to me because you always...
He got sent off first game against Arsenal.
He did. He tried too. Missed a penalty as well, I believe. He tried too hard, if that makes sense. And I've seen it at Man United with certain players. Diego Forlan, I actually look back at now. I think he tried too hard. Varane tried too hard, overcompensated, overextended, tried things that didn't need to be attempted, should have kept it simple at the right times. And that can happen to a team. If you don't start winning, you start trying too many things, you take too many risks, you get impatient. And the best teams have great patience. And that's what they've got to, that's what Potter's got to get out of these young players. He's got to get them to keep their heads. He can't allow it to go like any other way, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, because they are staring down the barrel a little bit now. They really, really are. They really, really are. But there
Can
we
you
go.
put up Maximus's comment, please?
Maximus's.
Yes, Maximus, because that comment
Yeah.
right there. You're saying you don't agree with us, but once again, you're saying what we say. They are a talent pool. But you need to understand, look, Liverpool were a talent pool, and then we bought Salah, and then we bought Mane, and then we bought Virgil, and then we bought Alisson. Chelsea are a pool of talent right now because they're all young. I don't know if the report is true. They didn't buy Maddison because he was a whole year older than what was required. But that still stands as a fair criticism, because let's use Maddison as the example. People might not want to hear this. But for the Chelsea fan mentality, Chelsea would have been better off buying Maddison than Caicedo. And I'll tell you why. Maddison would have helped them get, and helped Poch as well, get results in the here and now. Because Chelsea fans are not a fan base that think about the future. They're a fan base that thinks about the here and now. They're a pool of talent, but when you spend that much money, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Maximus, and every Chelsea fan. I'm not sorry, fuck your club. But I'm sorry if you still don't get this. When you look at your squad, there is no way anyone looks at that Chelsea 11 and thinks £1 billion. Cole Palmer, Jackson, Sterling, Enzo, Caicedo, Lavia, whoever the fuck. There's no way I'm looking at that lineup and thinking 1 billion. Where's the 1 billion part? And no 1 billion here. So we didn't, once again, I refuse to baby Chelsea and tell them like, oh my God, they all spent it on youngsters. So did I tell you to buy all the youngsters? Why didn't you buy Vlahovic? Why didn't you buy experienced players? Why didn't you go buy midfielders who are 26, 27, 28, who will help you get to the stage that you want to get to? It's not my fault you're trying to build Chelsea under 21s. It's really not my fault. So don't come at us like, oh my God, it's a pool of talent. Yeah, we know it's a pool of talent. But how long will it take that pool of talent to get results? And are you, Maximus, and all the Chelsea fans willing to give Poch that time? And the answer to that is no, before you even try. The reason why the answer is no is there's no need to theorize. There's already Chelsea fans who are Poch out. So many Chelsea fans I know are Poch out. Well, where's the waiting stage? Where's the waiting stage? It's been 5 games. You've already turned on the guy. So what's going to happen a year from now? 2 years from now?
Let us know what you think, people, in the comment section below. We deserve United and Chelsea to be this crap. Someone's childhood got damaged by those two teams. Terry, if United get a new manager, you will get gassed again, and you will. And did you already learn? You did that with Ollie and Ten Hag, whilst everyone else told you otherwise. Well, this isn't true though, Dawson. I was excited about the prospects of Ten Hag because I know how good a coach he is. Go back and watch what I said in many videos. I still don't believe under this ownership that medium to long term we would be successful and maintain any quality the manager brought in. So I expected an improvement, and we got that year one. We finished third. We won a trophy, got to an FA Cup final. But I strongly have said so many times we have to get rid of these owners. Without the owners going, we are never going to get back to where we want to be. Husam is betting house money on Chelsea. Chelsea's October fixtures, they could go down low. Can you see a world, genuinely, can you see a world where Chelsea get relegated?
I'm going to be honest with you. The reason why my answer is going to be no is not even Chelsea greatness. The reason my answer is going to be no is because all the other teams suck. So it's just like, listen, I think we're all in agreement. Even the chat would agree. Luton Town are going down. Everyone here would agree Sheffield is going down. And you have to ask yourself, are Chelsea worse than Everton? The answer is no. Are they worse than Burnley? The answer is no. So they're safe.
You look at it and you think Luton, Burnley,
we used to compare Chelsea to Real Madrid. Everton, now we compare them to Luton Town.
Yeah, Luton, Burnley, Everton, Sheffield United, Wolves, Bournemouth. Yeah, they're all, in fact, they're all a lot worse. So yeah, I just don't, by natural selection, they're not going to go down. But when you actually think they're the only teams that are below Chelsea and Man United right now, fucking hell, that's horrendous. Like for us, like again, for both teams, though, a win this weekend, a win for Man United could put us up as high as 7th. A win for Chelsea, I mean, that's what's the league's mad at this stage. If Chelsea win, they'd go 1 point behind Aston Villa, who are being looked at great in 7th as an example. But yeah, look, it's an interesting one this weekend. Also, obviously at the top, one of Arsenal and Spurs are going to drop points, which is going to be. But that's the thing with the United fans, stand relaxed. If, for instance, if Spurs were to beat Arsenal and then Man United would win, we're only 4 points off them, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, there's such a big gap." This stage of the season, lots can change, but yeah, they're not getting relegated. Why are you crying about this? Ten Hag isn't it? It's nothing to do with Ten Hag per se. Again, listen to the words, to quote the famous Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? It's about the position of which they hold, eradicating player power, and the club behaving in the right way. Allowing the players to down tools when they don't want to work and sacking the manager is not going to fix us, because we will do it to the next guy that says you have to work hard. Like, deep it for a moment. This will damage the manager that you want to come in. This behavior. There are standards that we should. I just look at things in life. My dad always used to say to me, like, this kid did something bad to me at school, I want to do something bad back to him. My dad just taught me, why would you stoop to that level? You're as bad as that person now. And that was a message that was pumped into me from a young age that I believe in. Why stoop to that level? Why go as low and sit in the gutter as that individual? So for me, that's why I don't advocate. I'm like this in society. If I see someone that I don't like, say there's a political commentator or a famous person that has opinions I hate, I wouldn't want them to go to prison illegally or to have their livelihood taken away when they've done nothing wrong. Does that make sense? If they do something wrong, I want them to go to prison. But I don't want people to be falsely accused of things. I look at that as bad practice. That scares me. That makes me think, Jesus, if that can happen to them, it can happen to anybody. I still want people treated right. I still want the right behaviors. If I don't like a player or I don't think he's good enough, I still don't want him mistreated and abused. I still want him treated correctly. I still want the standards and that element I said earlier. You're never going. Not everyone's going to be treated equally, but everybody can be treated with respect. Everybody can be treated right. The standards can be correct, unless they break them and then they get punished. And being punished isn't being mistreated. It's the reaction to your action. But yeah, listen, my man, it's nothing to do. It's nothing to do. Lardy-dardy, Terry. No, it's not. By the way, it's not lardy-dardy. It's not lardy-dardy to say someone shouldn't go to prison if they haven't broke the law. Like, I'm being honest, that's not a lardy-dardy comment. I thought that was common sense, but it is 2023, and it's a very different world that we sit in now. People are mad like that. Like, literally, it's so crazy. I saw Man United fans say, yeah, Anthony must have done it. Why? He must have. Why, though? Yeah, I just think he must have done it. I think he did. What are you basing that on? And like one of the guys DM me went, well, just because I hope that he did and then he won't play for us anymore. I'm like, bro, you can't go around saying that just because you hope he doesn't play for the club anymore. That's, again, warped mentality for me. Anyway, I think Spurs need to be careful because teams don't play with freedom versus us. If they decide to play with freedom, look at what happened to PSV. Lol, Spurs fans need to wake up. I saw Pep last season embrace time-wasting tactics versus Arsenal. That kind of brings us on to the Arsenal conversation, really. Arsenal-Tottenham this weekend. How do you see it going, brother? Massive game. Both sets of fans seem really confident going into this one. What's your opinion on it all?
First of all, before I even get to the North London derby, I just want to say quickly, I'm going to have a quick rant about the Premier League. The Premier League is a disgrace. Putting Liverpool, West Ham, Chelsea, Villa, and the North London derby all at the same time is an absolute disgrace. And this has nothing to do with Newcastle. This is not an anti-Newcastle rant. But I'm saying, who even is trying to watch Newcastle Sheffield to begin with? Sheffield United fans and Newcastle fans. No one else is trying to watch that shit. The 4:30 slot was supposed to be the North London derby. This is what we're used to. We're used to 4:30 North London derby, 2 p.m. You get two nice games to watch. By the way, with Newcastle, they played Tuesday anyway. So they could have played Saturday. It's not like they needed that extra day to begin with, number one. Number two, from a Premier League perspective, isn't the strongest weapon of the Premier League marketing, where you can give viewers 2, 3, 4 different games to watch. I look at this Saturday, and okay, City play Forest, Man United play Burnley. Sunday, we've got 3 of the games all at the same time. I think I speak for all neutrals when I say everyone, neither Arsenal nor Spurs fans, all of us want to watch the North London derby. That's a very fun game to watch. But now that's gone. If you're a Liverpool fan, you can no longer do that.
They should have done that. Game should have been, as you say, it could have been the 4:30 game, or it could have been the Saturday game. It could have been a game on Saturday, 12:30 on Saturday or 5:30. It could have been. It needs to be a nice. Having it on at the same time as Liverpool and Chelsea play is
So weird.
horrendous. It's
So
absolutely horrendous.
And by the way, if the 4:30 game was good, fair enough. But once again, I want to reiterate: this is not an anti-Newcastle rant. I would have said the same if it was like, I don't know, like Brighton, Sheffield, or whatever. The point is that it's not the new. I'm not saying fuck Newcastle. I'm saying I have a problem with the Premier League because from a scheduling perspective, you need to wake up. That day, everyone's going to go watch La Liga at 4:30. No one's interested in that game. But anyway, North London Derby. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't buy any Postecoglou hype yet. Spurs have fooled us all before. They fooled us with Mourinho. They fooled us with Nuno Santo, who also won Manager of the Month. They fooled us with Antonio Conte. They fooled us with Pochettino before them. So I'm not buying any Tottenham Hotspur hype. I refuse to buy any Tottenham Hotspur hype. I refuse to buy any copium. I don't smoke drugs, and I ain't gonna start now. So I will refuse to back Tottenham Hotspur in this game. I think Arsenal absolutely humiliate Tottenham Hotspur this Sunday. I've got Arsenal winning this game 4-1. I think it's going to be a bloodbath. All the Spurs hype, oh my God, Postecoglou, manager of the month, Maddison, player of the month, all this crap. No one gives a fuck about Spurs. Spurs are going to go back to their same hole again, and it's going to be the same shit all over again. And everyone's going to go like, oh yeah, we did Postecoglou hype too soon. Yes, you did. Listen, Postecoglou is a fantastic guy. He's a great guy. I'm sure we've all watched that video. Looks like a fantastic guy. Very happy for him for the start he did at Tottenham Hotspur. I've got no problem with it. But Arsenal are going to humiliate Spurs this Sunday. 4-1. My honest prediction is 4-1. Sorry, I said 7. I thought Liverpool United. 4-1. And the reason is Spurs are going to play open, expensive football. Postecoglou said it himself. He said, we're going to play our way everywhere. I'm sorry, he said it himself. Why should I need to speak on theories and fucking conspiracies? The man himself, from his own mouth, what did he say? He said, I'm going to play offensive football. You want to go to the Emirates, you want to play offensive football. If you want to play offensive football at the Emirates, you better be City, you better be Liverpool, you better be Madrid, you better be one of those teams. Those are the teams that can play offensive football. Don't think you can pull up to the Emirates, because the Emirates is no longer the Emirates from 5 years ago. This Emirates is now a cauldron. This is now a fortress. So you can't bring any random team and come tell me play offensive football. All this Bissouma hype, Maddison hype, blah, blah, all of this ends this Sunday. Spurs are going to get shat on, mark my words, and they will absolutely get humiliated. And I'm going to be honest with you. Like, if I wasn't like someone who likes to be objective, if I'm doing a combined 11, I'd probably put maybe 11, Arsenal players in there, just out of disrespect on Tottenham Hotspur. But if I were to respect Spurs a bit, maybe I'm putting 2 players in there. I've already seen it from the Spurs fans. Spurs fans are already saying Bissouma is better than Rice. No, he hasn't been. No, he hasn't been. Rice is clearly... I'm so sorry that the standard at Tottenham is so low that the guy comes and puts in 3 tackles and suddenly he's better than Declan Rice. No, he's not. Declan Rice starts for Liverpool, by the way. That's how good he is. Declan Rice, you could even argue, maybe alongside Rodri, he could start for Manchester City, maybe ahead of Matthew Nunez. He's not better than Rodri. Of course, he's the best DM in the world. So for me, I'm looking at this Arsenal team, and I don't see Spurs exploiting any weaknesses. Richarlison's crap. Kulusevski is overrated as fuck. Son has to play down the middle for him to have any sort of performance. I'm going 4-1 Arsenal, and I think it's going to be a bloodbath, and the Spurs fans are going to get upset, and they're all going to say the same shit. But hey, we got our Tottenham back. Why? Because they made 5 passes in a row. Shit club, shit fan base. They just don't have any winning mentality at that club. So yeah, thank God I'm not a Spurs fan. That's my thoughts on the North London Derby.
You don't like them, do you? You've got a real problem with Spurs.
You know my problem with Spurs? Last summer, I came on the terrace and I went on YouTube and I spoke on Twitter and I said, guys, Tottenham Hotspur are coming this season. It's Antonio Conte. They got 4th over Arsenal. They beat Arsenal, saying Tottenham's Day is back. Antonio Conte is building something. Oh, look, they bought Bissouma. Oh, look, they bought this guy. They bought that guy. And then the train came crashing. And then people tried to speak to me like, oh, Sam, you were backing Tottenham Hotspur. So now you've got to answer for their crimes. No, I ain't going to answer for that shit club's crimes. I'm not involved. I refuse to put any respect on Tottenham Hotspur's name unless they lift a trophy. I refuse to put. By the way, Terry Flowers over here and everyone in the chat didn't put respect on Liverpool till we lifted something. All this fucking respect. By the way, Arteta, people mock him. He's won an FA Cup. Bro, lift something and then I will take you seriously. All this Postecoglou, nice football, Maddison. I don't give a fuck. Where's your trophy? You got knocked out by Fulham. So now go and win that FA Cup and then maybe I will give you respect. But you will never hear me respect Spurs ever again until they bring me VVS, habibi. Bring me diamonds, bring me trophies. Even I have a trophy and Spurs don't. Win something and then I will speak to you. Don't come try speak to me when you have zero fucking... I have this trophy. I won this trophy. It's plastic, it's fake. But I've won more trophies in my lifetime than Tottenham Hotspur. So all this crap means nothing. Win something, and then I'll take you seriously. All this good, sexy football to what? Beat Sheffield United 2-1 at the end of the game? This Sunday, bloodbath, Terry. I promise I'm gonna remind you. I'm gonna remind you I told you so. It's gonna end 4-1 to Arsenal. They're gonna ruin Spurs. Sorry.
You ain't got to apologize. You're free to say what you want on the football terrace. This is straight facts. I mean, look, I get where you're coming from. I've been very surprised by the size of the mouth from some Spurs fans. It's bigger. This reference won't mean much to you, but if you're a Londoner, it will. Their mouths right now are bigger and wider than the Black Wall Tunnel. It's a big tunnel that goes through London, right? Big old tunnel. And they've started the season well. I think they've been excellent. I'm buying into the Big Ange hype. I think I didn't think he'd be that good, and he really is looking that way. But some of the things I'm seeing Spurs fans say, we are going to go to the Emirates and batter Arsenal. I can't get my head around it. I can't get my... Do they realize how good Arsenal are? I don't quite get it. And you're also setting yourselves up for such failure. Why kind of put that pressure upon your team this early under Big Ange? I don't kind of get it, if I'm being honest with you. Maybe it's a bit of projection. Maybe it's a little bit of bravado, putting on a little bit of front, something along those lines.
But you heard this, Terry? Be honest. How many?
Bro,
you've been a commentator for a long time. You heard this with Poch. You heard this with Nuno. You heard this with Mourinho. You heard this with Conte. Like, how long are we going to do the same shit over and over again? And with all due respect, even when Tottenham Hotspur were so much better than Arsenal, they still didn't go to the Emirates and win. And I'll say this right now, okay? People in the chat right now know I'm a Liverpool fan, right? If I said I'm going to come to the Emirates and play my style of football, an Arsenal fan would hold his hand up and he'd say, okay, I think we could beat Liverpool, but I respect Liverpool. I'm going to be honest with you, no one respects Spurs. I wish we were playing Spurs because we'd batter them too. All the Spurs hype, it makes no sense to me. Postecoglou said he's going to play offensive football. I dare Ange Postecoglou go play offensively at the Emirates. I dare you. I dare you. I double dare you, furthermore, Ange Postecoglou. Go play offensive football at the Emirates. Right now, go play offensive football. If he doesn't get absolutely smoked, Martinelli versus Pedro Porro. Who's their left? Udogie against Saka. Romero is a fucking overrated bozo. I've never seen a more overrated defender my whole... Oh, Romero's so fucking overrated. Mickey van de Ven, fantastic centre-back if this was fucking marathon sprinting. But that's what we're not talking
genuinely, if we were going to do a combined 11 now, right? So who would you put in goal?
Okay, you want me to be genuine?
Genuine, yeah.
Okay, genuine. Raya, Ben White, Saliba Gabriel. I'd say based on form, I'm going to give it Udogie because Zinchenko hasn't played that much anyway. He's back from injury. Okay. Midfield 3, I do a double pivot of Bissouma and Rice. I play Odegaard ahead of them because Partey is injured. If Partey was fit, he starts ahead of Bissouma. The front 3, I'm going Saka on the right, of course, clear of Kulusevski. I'm going down the middle. People keep saying Maddison, bro. If any person seriously thinks Maddison is better than Odegaard, go buy this. Go buy this. Go get yourself a pair of glasses as quick as possible. Odegaard, you're comparing Maddison to Odegaard. Also, with all due respect, this wasn't a conversation last season. Is it just Maddison have had a good start against Man United, who Brighton beat? Is it because he had a good start against Sheffield United? Is it because he had a good start against fucking Burnley? Grow up. Of course, Odegaard's better than Maddison. And then on the left, Martinelli. Down the middle, you think I'm going to put Richarlison? You think I'm going to put Mr. Overrated Heung-min Son? Fuck no. I'm putting whoever the fuck you want to play down the middle from Arsenal. Put Edin Ketia, put Trossard, whoever you want.
Yeah, Jesus. I mean, Jesus gets in it. Yeah, I would honestly go with two as well. You know, Maddison's had a good start, but listen. If Bruno leaves Man United tomorrow, and we can pick between Odegaard and Maddison if they were available, I'm picking Odegaard.
Everyone's picking Odegaard.
I'm genuinely picking Odegaard in terms of that. Look, I think Son's good, but I think Martinelli's got more to his game. I think he's got a lot. I think overall he's got more to his game. Right hand side, Saka walks in. He's so much better. And again, when everyone's fit, Partey's better than Basuma, and Zinchenko's better than Udogie. So
thank you.
It's not even disrespectful to say Arsenal win it. 11, have 11 better players. Now that doesn't mean that it guarantees Arsenal win at all. But this is Tottenham's first massive test.
Football, Terry.
Mate, again,
to the Arsenal.
I'm so intrigued. I'm so intrigued to see how Tottenham play. By the way, if they go there and dominate the ball and win, you will see nobody praise them more than I. I will hold my hands up. But
same. I will put my hands up. And all Spurs
I think it's risky, bro. I've seen. The thing is, it's like getting in the ring with an absolute banger, like a knockout artist in boxing, and saying, "Do you know what? I'm leaving my jaw open and I'm swinging my fists." I see a lot of people try that back in his peak with Mike Tyson, and it didn't end well. It didn't end well. You had to do it different. You had to outbox him. And I think going hell for leather, it may not work. This year, from Mr. Tybox says, Husam on Spurs is pure gold. Terry, I feel for you right now with Man United. Have a great weekend, guys. They get destroyed Sunday, and they'll be there to watch. It's going to be an interesting weekend to me. My brother gets married tomorrow, so I'm at the wedding in the morning and early afternoon, but I will be back for the match reaction for Man United in the evening because it's not a late one. It's the second time he's getting married to the same woman. It's true. Yeah, so it's much. I even told my brother straight, I said, I'm not getting you a wedding present or giving you money again. You had that last time. So they got married, and 3 years ago they got divorced. And they getting remarried.
Give him money in an envelope.
No. None. I told him you're getting none, bruv. You're getting my presents, and that's it. I'm taking a day off.
Can I ask you genuinely, right? If Spurs go play into the Emirates and play actual football, like they want to play possession, right? If they go do that at Arsenal, is there a bigger chance of me ending up with Megan Fox or them getting a result? Be honest.
I look at it this way. Look, they might listen. Arsenal might let them have the ball at times and go, great, we'll counterattack you. And if they Man United had ample opportunity at White Hart Lane, especially in the first half, to score. We picked them apart at times. We just didn't finish our chances. And in the second half, Spurs deserved to win. I won't change my mind, but they weren't perfect. They just got over the line at home against Sheffield United. Arsenal was so much better defensively. It's unbelievable than Sheffield United. And I think Spurs have started excellently. But again, this notion that, yes, we're ready to go to the Emirates and beat Arsenal. Not every Spurs fan has said it, but on the terrace, all but George have come on and said it. So for me, it's like, slow down a little bit. I don't think you've got to go in that deep.
Also, when you say Spurs have started really well, right? Can we just quickly analyze that statement? Because, I hear you. Okay, they started well. They won a couple of games. Let's just analyze that quickly. So they started the season. They drew with Brentford, 2-2 away from home. They beat Man United at home, which we all gave him credit for, but we didn't know Man United are going to be this crap. They beat Bournemouth. Oh, hooray, you beat Bournemouth. What a tough game that is. They lost to Fulham, Carabao Cup on penalties. They beat Burnley, who we all, 99% of us have getting relegated, and they beat Sheffield in extra time. Am I going to compare that to fucking Arsenal, who are playing European football as well, and aren't in the round 2 of the Carabao Cup because they are not a shit club and they're serious? Come on, man. We have to be respectful here. I genuinely don't see a world in which Spurs even get a result.
I think they've started well. I understand what you're saying. I think they have started well, though. This is a weird comment. It says, are you smoking Budge, whatever that is? Maddison won the Premier League. Bruv, Maddison joined Leicester in 2018. He did not win the Premier League with Leicester. He won the FA Cup. Bruv, do your research before you speak, young man or woman.
Okay, and Kavkov, can I tell you something quickly? Sorry. You claiming that Maddison Premier League is like me claiming Odegaard's Champions League with Real Madrid. So where do we go from here? You want to play that game? We can both
But
play that game, brother.
But Leicester won the league 2 to 3 years before he joined. It's not
No, I'm
even
saying
like
even if he wants to claim it, even if,
Oh, okay.
are you
Yeah.
going to claim the Odegaard Champions League? No. So exactly.
Crazy. Terry, it's a London term you should know. Yeah, I'm too old for some slang term. I was watching the last episode of Top Boy, and I'm from that part of London, literally where I'm born and brought up. And there's some slang people were saying, I'm like, what the hell does that mean? I was messaging my boys, like, boys, you know what this means? We're all like, nah. No one did. Yeah, the Spuds are going to get the batter. It's going to be the North London game. Thank you, Debbie. I hope Arsenal crush their dreams, is what Alberto Rey says. Big Hus, you're the GOAT, baby. Laughing my ass off, is what Joey says here. Who have Arsenal played then? Bum Husam again.
Of course, it's a City fan. You know, by the way, I don't want to get political, but your shit club got saved by political relationships between two countries. You know, German chicken wing, let me tell you something about you, right? Because you're a prime hater of myself. You are a supporter of a plastic fake club. And that's why no one gives a fuck about your treble. No one gives a fuck about Manchester City. Fuck your football club. I hope if Arsenal are in a title race, they win the league. I hope if we're in a title race, we win the league. I'd support anyone in a title race against you other than Manchester United because they're my biggest rival. You know why? Because I actually care about Man United because they're a serious big club, unlike your fake club. And let me tell you something about you, German chicken wing. If Sheikh Mansour 12 years ago bought Spurs, you'd be a Spurs fan. That's how plastic you are. But thank you for the super chat.
PSV's play similar to Spurs. Look what happened. Very true. Very true indeed. Oh my God, Husam, respect from Malaysia.
Apa kabar orang Melayu? Saya cinta Malaysia. Big up, man. Love to all my Malaysian people.
How do you pronounce that name correctly?
Suraida Shari.
Suraida Shari. There we go. Yeah, my dyslexia kicks in. I'm like,
I lived in Malaysia for a year and a half, man. Big up nice. To all the Malaysian people in the chat.
Nice. Spot on, Husam. My prediction is 5-1. Is what
Murad
says here.
I went 4-1.
There we go. George says we love you too, Husam.
Love, guys.
Using Husam's logic, Newcastle did well.
Which logic?
Yeah, I don't know what he means. Ugly Udrat. I don't know. You've got to expand on that, bro.
Yeah.
At work, so I can't stick around. This is just want to say a big up to my two favorite football content creators. Keep it up, boys. That is from Abdullah. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate that, brother. When the usual suspects get into trouble at school, they often discredit, demonize the teachers in any way possible. Hence the Eric Ten Hag mental health accusation. Do you know what's interesting? It's funny because I used to work with a woman and her kid was very naughty. And she always used to come to me. I say work with, I was her boss. And she'd come to me and say, I've got to go. I'm not going to say the kid's name. I've got to go pick up my kid. Oh, the teachers are turning on him again. Oh, she used to tell me how nasty they were to him. Like he flushed another kid's work down a toilet once. And I just asked her, I said, did he do it? She went, no, the teachers really set him up. And I was like, so I was trying to, I'm like, so the teachers flushed it down the toilet. She went, no. Well, how have they set him up? Well, somebody else did it and they blamed him and they wouldn't let him. After a while, you're like, now your kid's a problem, right? Like your kid is the problem. But the kid wasn't the problem. That was my younger head. As I become a parent myself, I want to know you're the problem because you're telling the kid it's all the teachers, it's the teachers. You're enabling that disgraceful behavior. I have no idea what that young person's up to now. They're probably 17, 18 years of age. I hope their mother and their father stopped behaving that way because you create a monster. And yeah, I think that's a great example there, my friend. Husam, who hurt you, Man City or Man United?
Who hurt me? First of all, that has nothing to do with hurt. I just hate. First of all, City fans, and Terry will know this, they're appearing out of nowhere. Like if you just acknowledge that you all used to support 99% of you, not all, because some people get upset. If you just acknowledge that 99% of you were either Arsenal fans before or Chelsea fans before, then we would all have an easier life. That's number one. I'm not saying you that because I know you like Arsenal. Number two, I do not hate any club over Manchester United, but that's because our rivalry means something. Liverpool Man United is a real rivalry because it's two real clubs. It's the two biggest clubs. There is nothing fake or plastic about that. It's been that way for hundreds of years. That's why that's real. So that hatred is real. With Manchester City, it's just people who are showing off something because they won the jackpot. So I've had to work my whole life to be a millionaire. Terry had to work his whole life to be a millionaire. And then some guy wins the jackpot and he wants to come sit on our table. Who the fuck are you? You just won the jackpot. So just shut the fuck up and go sit in the corner of the room. Big up.
Husam, please trim the beard. Oh,
Bilal, my brother, I'm going to grow this. You get me? I'm in my Khabib arc right now. Until January, I'm going to grow it till here, inshallah. And then new year, new me, I'll shave it.
There we go. Husam, slaying legend. Okay, so Ugly Hood Rat, who said about the logic, he's come back and said Newcastle's fixtures were tough. So by your logic, they are not bad, even though they've lost a lot of them.
No, but Newcastle have expectations on them now because Newcastle are a top 4 club. Who even expected anything of Spurs? By the way, everyone here acknowledges Newcastle have had a bad start to the season. Make no mistake. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. Them losing to Brighton 3-0 was bad. Them doing that was bad. Like, you need to understand, we have all, including Terry, myself, everyone has criticized Newcastle, and rightfully so. Because you can't be having them results now after you have expectations on your club. So you need to deliver as well. Make no mistake. I don't even disagree with you, by the way. Newcastle have had a bad start to the season, even with the fixtures, because you shouldn't be losing to Brighton. That's one. The way that they lost to Liverpool is bad with 10 men against 10 men. So that's the, in context, yes, they have had a bad start to the season. I've got no problem saying that.
Did you see that City's 115 charges article? How is it allowed a whole country using their economic deals with the UK as leverage? I haven't read the article yet, but a lot of people have said it's like almost like making sure the government leans on the Premier League to say let's not rock the apple cart here. We need their favor, we need their business, we need their friendship. And again, if that ends up being the case, if the British government makes the Premier League drop it, they won't be charged. They won't be found guilty, but the public, that's not having your day in court. That's going to make people turn around. That's like when a mobster gets off because they threaten the jurors. You know, it doesn't make the mobster innocent. It just means that everyone knows they were guilty. But there we go. I can't judge until I read it.
I got some more issues I've been shouting this whole time.
With the issue United are having right now, not even Sir Alex Ferguson could fix it. Well, no one can fix it if the club doesn't allow itself to be fixed. If you're not given full control, you're right. King here, one of our members, says, Terry, thoughts on Ivan Toney to Arsenal? I saw your video, but if Arsenal get Toney in January and they are 2 or 3 points behind City, you think they'll win the league? Look, if that's the context of the situation, then Toney coming in, adding more goals could help them. You also have to factor in how good City are in that period of time. But yeah, if they can win it, they can win it now without him. They can certainly win it with Ivan Toney. Ivan Toney only makes them a better team with a stronger squad if they're able to bring him in. So yeah, of course, I think it could massively help them. I really do. Husam, in terms of Liverpool, I know, again, there's not much to really review after yesterday's game per se, but this weekend, are you confident of another victory home to West Ham, I believe? Is that right?
Yes. Sorry, I had to go get some water because I was busy shouting about Tottenham Hotspur. I fucking hate unserious clubs.
No worries.
Can I ask your question again? Sorry.
You play West Ham. You confident?
Oh, absolutely. I am confident. I think some people who watch the Terrace, by the way, Liverpool fans, still accuse me of being negative. I have no idea how the fuck you've accused me of being negative for the second year in a row instead of actually listening to my arguments. I've never been negative about Liverpool Football Club. I've always been objective. I'll give you a quick example. 4 signings we made this summer. I was absolutely ecstatic with Szoboszlai. I was very, very, very happy with McAllister. I'm waiting to see what Gravenberch offers. So far against Lasky was phenomenal. And I thought Endo was crap. And guess what? I've been proven right. Endo shit. Are we not watching him in front of our very own eyes just be fucking shit? We are. And because we are, I'm just trying to be as realistic as possible. For me, with West Ham this weekend, first of all, I'm going to make this clear. I've got no problem with what Antonio said. I think he said it in some sort of gist, and he was just having a bit of fun. He's on a podcast. Like, I refuse to just sit here and, oh my God, Antonio, fuck. Blah. I really don't give a shit. So let him say whatever he wants. He's on a, on a podcast. Let him say whatever. But I think we will destroy West Ham this weekend. I think we beat West Ham by 3-0. West Ham played this Thursday night as well against Bacca Topola. They beat Bacca Topola. I think Liverpool at the start of the season were always a little bit stronger than most teams. This Sunday, they pull up to Anfield after they played on this Thursday night. It was kind of a taxing game as well against Bacca Topola for them. So look, West Ham are a team we already know. I think me, Terry, everyone in the chat, everyone who watches the Terrace in general already knows what West Ham are going to do. It's not some sort of fucking secret. West Ham are going to come to Anfield. They're going to park the bus. They're going to park the train. They're going to play defensive football, and they're going to try hit us on the counter-attack. But with West Ham, I think we have enough, more than what it takes to beat them. The only thing that worries me so far is injuries. I hope Gravenberch is okay. But there's one guy I just want to praise above all, and that's that Egyptian king, number 11, Mr. Mohamed Salah in English, Mohamed Salah in Arabic. Phenomenal player. And that's why myself and others have always had a problem with people who always exaggerate when it comes to non-aesthetically pleasing to watch players and act like they can't play the sport. Mo Salah's ability has increased to a level where he comes on in the Europa League and you can crystal clear see that he does not belong in this competition. And when I say stuff like that, that only applies to phenomenal fucking players. If a phenomenal player plays in that competition, Waves, who's in the chat right now, is a Barcelona fan. He was on my watch along when I was doing that last game, and he came in the chat and he was like, "Husam, the Salah guy is unbelievable." And I'm like, yeah, and his ability has improved and developed into a thing that I haven't seen from him. And he's 31 years old. I'm seeing some of the passes this guy's making. I'm like, yo, this is some sort of fucking playmaking arc he's on. If Nunes took his chances against Aston Villa, by the way, Salah would be on like 7-8 assists already, 5 games into the season, which is madness. So this guy has been creating so many chances. He's become a chance creation machine, a big chance creation machine as well, creating so many chances. He's been kind of the main playmaker in that front three. Nunes looks a lot better with Salah on the pitch because Nunes's role reduces to I'm going to score the goal now, and they have good link-up play with each other. I think from the midfield perspective, Szoboszlai has been unbelievable for us. Every time he's played, he's played really well. I don't think West Ham trouble us. I really don't think West Ham trouble us. I don't think they have enough to hurt us. Do they get a goal? Probably. I reckon we'll keep a clean sheet. But if they get a goal, I won't be surprised because we like to do the second half comeback. So yeah, I would like to thank Professor Hamza as well publicly, because this guy has hosted a halftime space at Wolves. We came back at Newcastle. We came back at Lask. We came back. So I will publicly say, Mr. Hamza, if we are losing to West Ham, please host a halftime space so we can come back second half. Big up to you guys, man. Big up to you guys.
Do you know what's interesting? Do you know what's mad about? That's what I mean. Don't anger the football gods. Leave things and see what happens. Studio Hooks here says, my thing with Endo is I know Liverpool could have gone for better options. Why him? There was also enough time left for it to be too much time left for it to be a panic buy, baffled. Is what Studio Hooks
Studio Hooks, here's the thing. Terry will tell you this himself. I've always been balanced with blaming Klopp and FSG at the same time. And that's one of the ones that I will put on Jurgen Klopp. I don't think this is an FSG type signing to begin with. This is a Jörg Schmadtke signing, the sporting director. Obviously, he's someone, and you could tell because it's a Werder Bremen level signing. It's not a Liverpool level signing. And look, someone who's watched football for 20 years like myself, I don't need fucking 35 games to make a judgment of a player. Within 5 minutes, I knew Endo's not good enough. So for me, I expect to see him Europa League, maybe Carabao Cup. But other than that, I just simply don't think he's good enough. But for me, the other signing we made this summer, I'm looking at Gravenberch yesterday's performance. I'm like, yo, that's a fucking unbelievable performance. So, yeah.
Husam, why do you guys keep conceding the first goal?
I think the one, for different reasons. Wolves, it was tactical. Because if you noticed in the second half, we completely switched. I think we need to start starting games 4-2-3-1 now. We need to just straight up just start games 4-2-3-1. Because I think that makes us so much stronger. And second of all, against Lask, I'll be honest with you, I think it was just complacency. I think it was just like everyone just sitting there going like, why the fuck are we here type thing. And I'll be honest with you, watching Newcastle this week, watching Manchester United this week, sorry, Terry, but like I just feel like I belong in the Champions League because I'm gonna go there. Had we played the Bayern that Manchester United played this Wednesday, I truly, genuinely believe, fuck agendas, I genuinely believe we come out with a win from that stadium because Bayern
we're not even playing well, and I think we can beat them at Old Trafford. You guys could definitely beat them. I actually think Arsenal are better than them right now. Genuinely believe like the strength 100%. Of Arsenal. The pressure could succumb to them, but I thought Munich were good. But we had so many opportunities. If we were more clinical early and Onana didn't make that mistake, the game, in my opinion, would have been different. But I hear you there. Ange insists he's going to be attack-minded at the Emirates. He's either baffling or bluffing, or he has a death wish. I can't wait to find out. It's going to be very intriguing.
So when I say it's a death wish, people think I'm doing agendas. It's not an agenda. It really is a death wish. You want to go play offensive with Pedro Porro and Pape Sarr against Arsenal? Good luck, Habibi. Enjoy.
This year says Arsenal are level with City. If Arsenal level in City in Jan, what two players will be available? The Arsenal could buy to give them the league? Look, I think Ivan Toney could be one. I don't want to name what the other position would be because I think maybe it could be injury based. Does that make sense? Like if you've got enough, if you get another injury at the back, if you lose a big defender, then it will be a defensive one as an example. You might lose another midfield player. Say Partey's out for the rest of the season with an injury, and you've also Jorginho's out. You might think, do you know what? Let's go into the market and look at a Douglas Luiz or somebody like that as an example. I think it's hard to guess right now because the only area that I think you could do with one extra player in now is up front in terms of strength in depth. I think everywhere else, I really do think you're okay. I think Kivior's a decent player. You're never going to stack a team, by the way, so you've got 3 or 4 centre-backs all at Saliba's level. Most clubs, barring City, don't do that, and maybe you'll get there in time. I can't skip forward. I don't know why that is. That's a YouTube thing, bro. It says Chelsea are the worst team in the Premier League. Pound for pound, they are the worst team in the Prem. Like pound for pound, money spent for how they're performing. For the last 12 months, they have been the worst team in the Prem. That's a fact.
Welcome to the dark side, Terry. Welcome to the dark side. Let's go.
True. That's just a fact. By the way, start of this season, Man United and Chelsea, pound for pound, have been the worst 2 teams in England. We're the same. Tell Chillman people.
Super chat, out of curiosity, can everyone in the chat just tell us the club they support? I'm seeing so many new names. Big up to you guys. I just want to know the clubs you support. So just drop us a comment with which club you support because there are so many new names in the chat. I've never met them before. Big up to you, to everyone in the chat. Sorry, I had to say that because I'm just.
Fairness, that's because in the last 60 days, the Football Terrace has grown by about 27,000 subscribers. So there's always new names here, and we love you all very, very much. Big respect to all of you as we push close to trying to hit that not close to 500,000 yet, but that's the next milestone we'll celebrate is 500,000. And hopefully in 2024, we get to that number. This super chat here says, tell Chillman people need to judge once we get the players back. Listen, I agree. I don't think he's going nowhere. But the reason I'm asking the question, it says Ten Hag sacking close, question mark. It's a question to you all is I've seen this movie before. Just like every single one of those. You remember those? They had white backgrounds, red letters, those kind of American rom-coms in the 90s and the noughties. They all had the same story. Boy meets girl. Girl loves boy. Boy loves girl. Boy upsets girl, girl leaves boy, something happens, they rekindle it, they end the film together. Every film was the same, just with a different actor and actress, but the same film, really, a few different jokes. That's what happened. I can just read what's going on, my bro. But I do hear you. Listen, I'm very intrigued to see the plan for Amrabat. Listen, Amrabat, I was looking at the statistic earlier on today, and like Amrabat is one of the most, last season in European football, one of the most press-resistant football players out there. And that's just not me saying that. That's an absolute cast iron fact as an example. And I'm going to show people on the screen. And we need more press resistance players in this team. With him sitting back potentially, with Casemiro when fit, I believe that will help the Brunos and the Mounts, and hopefully the Ericssons push further forward and do what it is they've got to do. So I don't disagree with you. I'm being patient. You can see with this stat here, I've highlighted, that's Amrabat. You can see him there kind of near the middle of that third box. You know, there's some people there that are ahead of him, but he's on par with the Kimmichs of this world, the Rodris, the Vitinhas, Frankie de Jong just below him. Right at the top there, you can see Bruno Guimaraes. There's lots of good players in there, and that's what Man United need. They need more press resistance in their team. I think they need more than Amrabat over time, but, you know, he's a start, really. But, yeah, but I think we've got to be patient. This year's from Studio Hook says, Arsenal fan, Twitter is the same as YouTube, mate. I want to get more involved in these debates. No one is repping my club openly online. listen, bro, drop me a DM. Always willing to get new faces on shows to come on and give opinions and stuff like that. I appreciate it. But Husam, always a pleasure to speak. I've got to go dry cleans and pick up suits and shirts for tomorrow. So thank you very, very much, mate, for coming on as always. My super chatters, genuinely big love from the bottom of my heart. Please hit the like button before you go, subscribe. And at 6 p.m., we're back live for the Top 6 show. We've got an amazing panel looking at United, Chelsea, and a big preview, a huge preview for the North London derby. So we'll see you all in a couple of hours. Take care. Goodbye. By the way, this stream will take you to it. So go bookmark it now, and we'll see you all in